making-offs, especial premieres, principalmente de Indiana Jones, exatamente. Por quê? Você sabe, a gente sempre cobre, né, todos os lançamentos de filme. Eles fazem, só pra vocês entenderem, né, eles chamam de junket interviews, ou seja, as entrevistas de imprensa que acontecem num dia inteiro, onde os talentos, eles chamam de talentos, porque pode ser atores, produtores, diretores, enfim, qualquer talento que tenha trabalhado no filme, vão estar lá sentados dando entrevista para um monte de veículos do mundo inteiro para divulgar o filme. A ideia é essa, eles querem divulgar o filme. A gente faz isso porque a gente, pô, cara, imagina a gente poder entrevistar as pessoas legais, trazer aqui para vocês no Jovem Nerd, é muito legal, para eles é legal porque divulga o filme e todo mundo fica feliz. Dessa vez, eu fui para Los Angeles para cobrir 2 eventos a convite da Disney. Um que foi a Disney Plus, para cobrir o Tapete Vermelho e uma exibição especial de Invasão Secreta, os 2 primeiros episódios. Foi muito legal. Mais uma vez, eu vou explicar para vocês como é que funciona esse negócio de Tapete Vermelho. Eles chamam de line-up interviews, ou seja, você fica numa fila, em pé, no tapete vermelho, esperando as pessoas e as pessoas vão falando, sabe? Uma perguntinha, 2 perguntinhas no máximo. Entrevista super rapidinha. Então, normalmente, as perguntas são mais abrangentes, não é pra se aprofundar muito, porque é muito en passant, tá todo mundo lá, ó, a 1000. E nem sempre você consegue entrevistar todo mundo, porque não existe uma ordem, você vai falar com esse, depois com esse, depois com esse, depois com esse, né? As pessoas vão vindo, às vezes elas pulam você, às vezes elas falam, às vezes acaba o tempo e as pessoas já foram embora e você não conseguiu falar.
É isso que acontece. Você foi embora porque acabou o tempo.
E eu não falei com o Sam. Acontece, é normal. Então essa é uma caixinha de surpresa. Agora olha aqui onde é que eu tô, em frente ao El Capitan Theater, aqui em Hollywood, esse cinema da Disney. Eles compraram esse cinema antigo aqui de Hollywood e teremos o screening de Secret Invasion, Invasão Secreta, e aqui ó, bem em frente ao Kodak Theater, caraca, o cara tá velho, o Dolby Theater, já era Kodak Theater. Temos o tapete vermelho que vai rolar aqui. As celebrities vão estar aqui, vamos ver com quem que a gente vai falar. Vai ser muito legal. Bora! Hey, Room. How are you? Good to see you. Yeah. How bad were you missing, all the makeup with the blue screen?
Oh, yeah. I was there for 4 hours. Yeah.
Oh my God,
but blue is blue. Look at this. Bronchar is back. I had to cut my beard, but it's like, I miss it, of course. But it's a big job.
Right.
But was it worth it? Did people love Captain Marvel?
Well, of course.
Yeah, of course they did. And Bronchar?
Yeah.
Of course, you're telling me.
You're playing the President of the United States.
Yes.
In a very complicated and complex world that is the MCU, right?
Yes, it's very complicated, and even my role is complicated. It has several different layers, and you're looking at a president that you're not sure you can trust. I think that's part of what the theme in this is. And I think even the president, it'd be easy to make some assumptions about him. So we know. It's a little triggering. I don't know if you've seen the first episode, but like, gosh, I'm okay. I'm okay. And heavy on the invasion part.
Yeah, come on, you're target number 1, right? In a secret invasion like the Skrulls, I mean, a figure like the president will be target number 1, right?
Yes, well, there was an attack in Moscow. And so the President of the United States has come to London to have a summit with the other nations on how to deal with this, and try and find peace, and that doesn't go well.
Well, that is, I mean, the vibe, like look over your shoulder, trust no one, this espionage, kind of a Cold War genre that is, I think is being printed into the show. I'm so excited to do that. How did you guys tap into this?
Well, I think Kyle Bradstreet created a great character, an aging Nick Fury who's maybe lost his step a little bit and through desire and necessity has to come down and get a step back and save Earth. And Nick can't fly. He's not a superhero. I mean, he's a superhero in many ways, but he's a human with his feet on the ground. And we had to explore stories that deal with trust and suspicion and humanity. And that took us right to film noir and The Third Man. And at some point in the story, Nick realizes that this is his battle to fight alone, and he becomes a classic American Western hero. So we looked at John Wayne and Clint Eastwood and Unforgiven, And I think you feel a lot of that in the show.
What would be your strategy to identify a Skrull, passing for human?
Oh my God, it's all about this. It's all about the smelling.
Right?
Yeah, it's the smell. So that's you have to be aware that it smells differently.
Right.
Yeah, and it's also the intuition that something can turn really bad, like you're on the top of a cliff and something really bad could happen. So you have to be on your toes and because when they come alive, it's like a disaster. Right. And as humans, we can feel this if a disaster is coming.
Right.
So nose, eyes, ears, everything.
Thanks for the
But then the crews are ready.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.
It would be hard, especially the challenge this is throwing out, I think, is how can you be sure? How can you trust? But deeper for me is the notion of not judging someone just because of the way they look or the group that they belong to or their beliefs. So those themes are presented in this really incredibly cool series. Maybe not the best lesson because there's some people you really can't trust.
Yeah.
So
regardless, right?
Regardless, an amazing world to join. I'm really thrilled to be here.
I think we'll never know, right? There are some clues in the show that tell us how we can identify a Skrull. I can't tell you any of them.
Bullshit.
And ultimately, I think we just have to be aware of everybody we're talking to. Like, I might be a Skrull, as far as you know.
So how do you feel being on that, like, the cool side of Marvel right this?
To be honest, just to be a part of Marvel in any way, personally, was a real pleasure because I'm a huge fan. And with this particular cast, also with Samuel Jackson as your lead, I was like, this is such a cool moment as an actor.
Right.
It's one of the greatest actors, and it's an incredible character. And it was such a cool thing just to be a part of it. But yeah, like I felt this story is quite dark and gritty. And again, this moving chess pieces of who's who and what is everyone's motivation. It's very unknown.
Right.
And I think it keeps us all guessing as an audience. And it was just really good fun. Filming is a challenging thing, and this was just a blast. Sorry, Ben Mendelsohn is beside me, so I kind of felt like I almost want to hug him. Yeah.
Thank you so much, man.
Oh,
Congrats,
cool.
man.
Thank you.
As celebridades estão dando as últimas conversinhas e tirando foto ali. E aí eles vão atravessar a rua pra cá, atravessar aqui, ó. Vão vir por esse micro tapete vermelho, entrar aqui no El Capitão, que é onde eu vou entrar, porque eu tenho a credencial. Olha que pôster legal, gente. Olha que pôster maneiríssimo que é. Todo mundo pode ser um Skrull, muito bom. Olha só, agora eu estou andando no tapetinho vermelho lá. Vocês viram? Ah, porque eu sou um guest. Eu sou guest. Estou entrando aqui no El Capitão. Hey guys, can I grab some popcorn over there? Oh, I get it. Thank you. Tá acabando, galera, é rápido. Olha aqui, El Capitão. Muito legal. Delícia! Cinema de 2 andares é uma parada muito maneira. Olha só, esse cinema é muito maneiro. Vocês estão vendo como é por dentro do El Capitão. Olha! Olha! No canto, hein? Eu não vou falar nada, mas tô no canto. Vai começar! Ih, vai começar mesmo, tem que desligar o celular. Olha, galera. Tchau, gente.
One last fight.
Mas Indiana Jones, o que acontece? O dia seguinte do Invasão Secreta foi no mesmo lugar, eles fecharam a rua ali em frente ao Dolby Theatre, que é o teatro onde acontece a premiação no Oscar, né? E lá rolou os 2 tapetes. No Indiana Jones, a gente teve 2 oportunidades. Uma que foi o tapete vermelho, onde a gente ia poder falar com as pessoas rapidamente, naquele mesmo esquema. I'm asking everybody tonight their most memorable moment in the Indiana Jones movies before this one. What would you connect with?
To me, it has to be when the tank falls off the cliff. The three characters are just standing there, and he just like stands behind, and he just goes.
Yeah, that's.
I had to watch it again last night. I was like cracking up. It works every time.
Raiders of the Lost Ark was a movie that I watched again and again and again and again. And if you remember it, there is a moment where Indy comes running out of the jungle and he's running towards the seaplane. Then suddenly you see this tribe that are chasing after him, the dust is coming up. And I think that was the moment I was like, oh God, I just want to be that guy.
Of all these movies?
Of all the movies, yeah.
Well, when the stone ball
Yeah.
rolls down, right?
Of course.
Right? Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah, great. What would be the most memorable moments on the previous Indiana Jones movies that you have in your mind? Your heart? Got it.
Got the first one. The first 10 minutes of the first film. It's so insane what kind of a roller coaster they did there. And it's so funny, it's so charming. I think that will always stand like an iconic starting sequence of any film.
You know, I have a lot of fans in Brazil. One thing that, I've watched the movie, but I keep missing you looking at the camera and just like, yeah, what's going on? Going back to all of the indie films, what would be your most memorable moment?
Oh, well, it was Raiders for me, and I remember, I think I was so blown away by Marion, and I was just so blown away by Indy as a character, like a hero that he hurts when he falls over, he grumbles, he's scared of snakes.
I hate snakes, Chuck! I hate him!
He's just such a brilliant, brilliant character, and I think he's been really well served by this movie, and Harrison's just exceptional in this final movie. You get a whole new sort of perspective on the character.
What are you doing here?
Let's go,
Hang up!
Please take your hat as a director off, as a fan, growing up with indie movies. What's your most memorable moment?
When I first saw this movie 42 years ago, on the first day, it occurred maybe 30 seconds into the movie, and it's when Harrison, you're on his back, and he turns and looks back.
On.
And I knew I was in brilliant hands from the moment the movie started.
Right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Ethan, how are you, man?
I'm really fine. You know, my grandma's Brazilian.
Really? Wow, what's her name?
She's called Irene.
Irene?
Yeah.
Nice. Good, man.
Can I try to say something in Brazilian?
Of course.
In Portuguese?
Yes.
Okay. Oi, tudo bem, Brasil? Amo vocês. Assistam o filme Indiana Jones.
Ah, nice.
Was it good?
Yeah.
Was it good Portuguese?
Yeah.
So cute.
What would be your favorite moment of all indie films?
Of all indie films? Wow, that's a good question. I think it would be the last scene of The Last Crusade, when they're on the horses, riding to the sunset.
Nice.
It's a really, really good shot, and I love the conclusion with his relationship with his father.
Indiana. Let it go.
I'm a super soundtrack enthusiast, so I'm a fan since Lost. I've known your work so much. And I pay attention to, all the details, like you said. Remember the time I Lost that you were looking for scrap metal, to create sounds that will make, sense with the fuselage. Right, yeah, I love that. I mean,
I still have those. This is the percussion room. I don't know if you can come in here and see this.
You have no idea how much Lost is part of my life. So, great work, man.
Thank you. Lost for me was one of the most important things I ever worked on. I feel like for me it was it was the one project that I could just be me.
Right.
I didn't have to step into the shoes of somebody else that had done something before. I could just be me and do what I wanted to do. And it was an incredible learning experience because I would usually have around 3 days to write a score. and then we would record it, and then we go and get another episode and do it all over again. Right. And in those days, we were doing like 24 episodes, like one, boom, boom, right after the other. So it was a great learning experience. But in terms of the sound of the show, I'm very grateful to the showrunners, Damon and Carlton, for giving me the freedom to just do what I felt was right to do. And I love it because it's such an emotional show.
I love you so much.
It's not afraid to be emotional, and it's also not afraid to be scary, and all those things we love about movies are wrapped up into this incredible show. So I have a very special place in my heart for that show, and I love doing it. I loved working on it.
And since you had the experience of all the types of soundtracks, when you think about technology and how long the sample industry has come, and how much easier it makes for you to conduct an orchestra where you don't have much money to do so. So tell me the difference now, working with a real orchestra, of going deep into the sample.
I'm kind of an old man when it comes to that because I like the orchestra.
Right.
I like live players playing a real instrument made of wood or metal or brass or anything, whatever it is. I like the idea of getting 100 creative people in a room and letting them do something. They get to bring, because really what I bring to them is a piece of paper with a bunch of black dots on it.
Right.
And it's them. They bring it to life, the orchestra and the players. And those players, you can put anything in front of them and they'll play it right the first time through. And the only way to do that is by working for years and years and years and years on your discipline. And that's what these players do. They're the most talented people in the world. I respect them more than anybody, and they bring what I do to life. So I'm forever grateful for that.
From your perspective, in this production, your experience in this production, what would be your most memorable moment?
My most memorable I don't really know. It was amazing. I loved every single day of being in Indiana Jones 5. Harrison and Phoebe bought me a guitar, and I was really happy about it, and I cried. It was amazing. It was an amazing gift. Thank you, Harrison. Thank you, Phoebe. I love Brazil.
Thank you.
Turn left! Turn left! Indy, listen to him, he knows.
I know Tangier.
A lot of people again will say this, but seeing Harrison Ford walk onto the set for the first time in the classic Indiana Jones outfit with a fedora, you could hear the crew all going, and it doesn't matter how long you've been doing this, how cynical you might be, it's quite something, and I think everyone will remember that.
Get back!
I don't know. I gotta wake up from this dream. It's I can't believe it's real yet. Until I actually see myself in the movie. To me, it's still like I can't believe it. But it's been a great ride. It was totally unexpected to me. I jumped on the film very last minute. It was a ride. With Harrison and Phoebe and Mads Mikkelsen, who I worked with on Doctor Strange 7 years ago. So it was familiar, and they're experts. And so to be with them on the same movie set is such an honor for me. So I just had to tag along and keep it shut and do what needed to be done and smile.
I have a scene with Harrison. We're sitting in a car, and we spent 2 days in there. So just seeing him up close, how he works, how fantastic he is, and also sitting there listening and telling anecdotes myself. That was a wonderful day.
Fasten your seatbelt. There might be some turbulence.
I met Harrison, of course, up front. We a couple of weeks before, and the preparation and stuff. And then we had the first shooting day. You need to know Harrison Ford is a sweetheart. So sweet. So now we are in the first scene. I'm shooting on this movie, and he's shooting. And he's sitting in front of me, and his arms are tied behind his back. I'm standing in front of him. I'm supposed to be scary.
Right.
And I look at him, and he's so big suddenly. So I start getting scared. And I'm never gonna forget that, because I thought that more. I thought that's why he's Harrison Ford.
But I've been looking for this all my life.
Hello, Jovem Nerd. This is Mads Mikkelsen. Go and watch Dial of Destiny.
Mas então, onde é que você assiste as suas séries favoritas? Você assiste na sua Samsung OLED, exatamente! Olha, gente, olha essa novidade. 8 milhões de pixels acendendo e apagando no momento certo, preto absoluto. Aquela imagem com o máximo de brilho, contraste e qualidade Samsung. Esse é o home cinema que você merece. Além disso, ela tem um design laser slim, ou seja, assim, ó, magrinho que nem laser. É tão fininho que você, caraca, como é que pode isso aqui, essa televisão? A folha em papel. E pra quem gosta de games, ela tem uma taxa de atualização de 144 Hz. Olha aí, exatamente, além do Samsung Gaming Hub, você sabe. Você pode conectar sua conta do Xbox Game Pass ou da Nvidia GeForce Now pra você jogar os jogos que você tem na sua conta ali, ó, via streaming. Não precisa de console. Não precisa de console, cara. E olha só, se você comprar na pré-venda da Samsung uma OLED de 55 polegadas ou uma 65 polegadas, você ganha brinde. Você escolhe, pode ser desde uma soundbar até um aspirador robô da Samsung que eu já testei. É incrível. É muito maneiro. Dá uma olhada. Tem link aqui, confira o regulamento. Lembrando que o resgate do brinde é no site samsungparavocê.com.br. É isso. Você vai lá, fala assim, ó, comprei, tá aqui, dá meu brinde. Eles mandam.
Hooray!
Pera! Tem cupom de desconto aí. Magalu 5, pra você ganhar 5% de desconto na compra de TV Samsung até dia 25 de junho. Tá acabando, tem link aqui, vai lá. Já junket interviews, normalmente são entrevistas que você vai pessoalmente, assim, eles alugam um andar inteiro de um hotel e os talentos ficam lá sentados, você entra, fala com eles por 5 minutinhos e tal. Às vezes tem uma raridade de ter entrevistas um pouquinho maior do que 5 minutos, mas normalmente é 5 minutos pra menos, que é brutal, você não tem como desenvolver um papo muito profundo.
The question of this. I don't know if we have time for that. There's 20 seconds left. That's a big question.
Eu tento pesquisar o máximo de entrevistas que esses talentos deram ou pro seu próprio filme, quando já existem entrevistas anteriores para esse filme, ou em outras entrevistas de outras coisas gerais. Por que eu pesquiso? Porque eu quero evitar as perguntas que são as mesmices, as coisas que todo mundo sempre pergunta. Ah, como é que foi trabalhar com fulano? O que você achou de voltar a ser um Indiana Jones? Sabe esse negócio? Gente, é sério, eles falam o dia inteiro. Cada 5 minutos vem uma pessoa nova. Você imagina quantas vezes ele repete? Então a pessoa meio que entra num automático de algumas respostas. E eu quero tentar cavar algo fora do padrão. E aí isso depende muito do que eu pesquiso para descobrir o que essa pessoa gosta de falar mais, o que não costumam perguntar para elas, etc. Então eu tento achar essas perguntas. É sempre uma aposta, você não sabe como ela vai ser recebida. É uma aposta informada. Eu tenho pelo menos algum norte para dizer assim, ó, vou tentar ir por esse caminho para ver se rola uma parada. E aí, normalmente dá certo.
That's a great question.
Great question.
That's the best question I've had.
Awesome question. Yes, an awesome question.
Eu sempre acho que vai ser horrível. Eu tenho um síndrome do impostor enorme, vocês sabem. Eu não acho que eu sou competente em nada disso. E eu acho que as entrevistas sempre vão ser terríveis. Eu fico tenso na hora de começar a fazer, olha, vai ser terrível. Eu nem fico nervoso pra falar com as celebridades, porque eu meio que já acostumei a falar com muita gente e eu consigo enxergar a pessoa como um ser humano normal, entendeu? Alguns eu fico um pouco mais nervoso. Harrison Ford eu fiquei nervoso. Eu não sei porquê, dessa vez, apesar de eu estar em Los Angeles, eles fizeram online, que é uma coisa que começou a ser bem comum durante a pandemia, que os junkets eram sempre presenciais e aí começou a se aceitar que se gravasse as entrevistas à distância, via Zoom, então isso virou meio uma prática comum, então não é tão incomum mesmo depois da pandemia. Então eu fiz online o junket e eu fiz o tapete vermelho presencial. Muito legal.
Those days have come and gone.
Perhaps not. Get back.
Hi guys, my name is Alexander from Jovem Nerd Brazil. How are you guys?
We are great. What's a Jovem Nerd?
It means the young nerd.
Young nerd. Okay, young nerds.
All right, guys. Such a privilege to be here. Thank you for having me. I mean, Harrison, you said recently that you wanted this movie to be like something indie-zoned, and it shows. You wanted to show that. You want to pretend that, you know, Indy's not gonna feel his back or something else, right? So, but when you take your shirt off, it shows much more. shows that you still got it, man.
The aspects of age that I wanted to concentrate on for their emotional value
were your pecs.
We're not physical. The condition his condition is in is because of the life that he's led. And now he is in 1969, not in the black and white world of the 40s, 30s and 40s, but in the reality of a world that has men on the moon, but doesn't give a rat's ass about the past. And he's dispirited, he's broken, he's lost his most important relationships. I think that's an interesting place to start, with a character that you think you know everything about. Now watch him as he tries to rebuild himself with, in the context of the relationship with Phoebe Waller-Bridge, the character that Phoebe plays. I think that's an interesting path to follow, and that's what I wanted from Age. I didn't want to just make jokes about it, but I wanted to make emotional sense of it.
Have we met? Are you still a Nazi?
How are you guys?
Hello, Brazil, how are you?
To be here in a chat room with the villains, right?
That's one way of looking at it.
Mads, you're such a gentleman. We love to, just see you as this dangerous gentleman, right? And Waller is such an interesting build because it's different than any other Nazi Indiana Jones villains, because he has been recruited by the Operation Paperclip. I mean, this is like this Werner von Braun stuff, and you're right there with the within the government. So how was it to build this character with such a resentment and such an ideology inside this different situation?
Interesting. I mean, the part of him being dangerous or threatening himself is not a big part of him. This is why he has this guy.
Right.
He loves to be part of the science, right? The science of what is where his passion is, and then to a degree also the party line, right? But the science is what's really driving him and what science can do to the future. So it's in the script. I lean towards that. We find the character together with the director, but it's predominantly on the page somehow.
Dr. Jones, get him.
And boy, a friend of mine recently told me that, this is the first Indiana Jones. He's looking forward to the movie, but this is the first Indiana Jones that I'm going to watch without my father. And that got to me, because if you go around and ask around, those movies, they are more than movies, they're experiences. We connect our own lives with them, our own experience. Remember who we were with, where we were when we watched it. Do you have those touch points growing up with those movies and now being in them?
Yeah, absolutely. I watched the first time I saw Indiana Jones, I was around 6 or 7 when the Temple of Doom came out. And I was with my family in my family room watching our small little TV set, just getting the sense of adventure of when you went outside, you were Indiana Jones with your stick that's a whip, and you're running from whatever it is, and you're putting your touch on that touch of imagination. So it's something I've shared with my dad, and I hope to share it when it comes out. It'd be quite surreal, actually.
How about you, Matt? What are your emotional touch points?
Yeah, the same. I watch it with my brother again and again on a VHS tape. But it's a beautiful story with his father, and I understand that he's passed now. But the beauty is obviously that that's what he did. This film has done that. My kids have been seeing it with me, saw it with my parents. I have a hunch it's going to go on like that. My kids are going to show it to their kids. It's just that kind of film. We don't know how that happened. We will never get the explanation, but once in a while, it does hit us like a meteor, and this is the one.
Yeah, I'm just, I have a 9-year-old daughter, just waiting a few more years to have this experience with her, and it goes from generation to generation, right? And now have you guys, to show her. One thing that I found very interesting is the dynamics. I mean, boy, your character seems like he's desperately looking for approval from his master at such a point where, he just wants to belong. I don't know if he bought into the whole ideology thing. I'm not sure of that. How do you see that in him?
You know what? I want to say somebody got it. Thank you. Thanks somebody got it.
I got it. I got it.
He got it. He got a little too much of it. It's like, go away. I feel like we're the odd couple. Yeah, I was trying to figure out why this guy wasn't in, smoking a joint on San Francisco and having a good time. Because I guess, nobody wants him. You try to humanize these characters and play this character for 9 months, and it keeps you, there engaged on set and, creating your own story that nobody else wants them. And so it kind of shows the loyalty of someone who will have him in his group and will basically do anything to stay there. And then at the last moment, realizing, picked the wrong guy.
You were awesome, guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
what a
so
performance.
Thanks,
I loved it. Thank you. All the best.
But I've been looking for this.
James, Harrison said many times that, although Indy is such an iconic character, it can't offer much without a good story. And you brought so many of your style, writing this down. You got into the the classical stuff, like with the artifact and the villains. But going into Indy's mind, like Harrison said, that is so interesting. How was your take on this, on balancing it out, like the character and the adventure?
Well, it almost seemed necessary. I didn't know, I think that one of the challenges they had even when they made the last film, Crystal Skull, is how to make an Indiana Jones movie in a modernist context, in the context of a modern world. It's kind of a much, I don't want to say it's easy because the first 3 films are all quite masterful, but there's a harmony between the Golden Age cinema style of the movie, the Golden Age score, the hero in a fedora, swashbuckling, after treasure. All these things braid together very neatly and harmonize within the context of a 30s or 40s period. The second you take all that and move it into a period where Jackson Pollock is painting and Elvis Presley is singing, or in our case, into a period where, the Beatles are playing and the men are on the moon, the relationship between the kind of classic Golden Age cinema indie and a world that's changed under him is something that you really have to explore and almost demands to be explored, or else the movie feels like it has blinders on, if that makes any sense.
Guys, thank you so much.
Thank you, pleasure.
Better than a slap in the belly with a wet fish. Thank you, Harrison.
Thank you.
Terminado, todas as entrevistas e tal, o tapete vermelho, eu tinha um convite para assistir a premiere mundial de Indiana Jones no Dolby Theatre, que é caraca, é muito maneiro isso.
Olha onde eu vim parar. Olha onde eu vim parar. Não é à toa que eu estou com esse sorriso na estreia mundial de Indiana Jones no Dolby Theatre em Hollywood. Tamo junto demais, gente.
Beleza, a gente foi lá e aí era de se esperar, os talentos vieram ao palco. Só que veio George Lucas, veio Steven Spielberg, veio todo mundo.
Ai, meu Deus.
Mr. Harrison Ford, Indiana Jones.
Mas teve uma gafe, uma coisa que deu uma pena enorme nessa apresentação, que lembra do Ethan Isidore? Olha, ele tava todo empolgado, o moleque... Pô, cara, ele foi uma gracinha no tapete vermelho. Vocês viram, né? Chegou falando português, que a avó dele é brasileira. Ele, um amor de pessoa.
Oi, Jovem Nerd, mas assistam o filme Indiana Jones.
Tá todo empolgado de estar num filme do Indiana Jones. E aí os caras chamaram todo mundo no palco, todos os atores, um por um. E esqueceram de chamar ele, cara. No finalzinho, alguém falou, vai lá. Ele entrou no palco, você vê correndo. E o James Mangold já tava sem microfone e tudo. Aí ele chamou, não, esquecemos o garoto, tá? Assim, mas... E aí a galera aplaudiu e tal, foi legal. Emotional damage! Tadinho, eu fiquei com muita pena dele. De repente, o Steven Spielberg fala isso.
Okay, one last thing. There are 3 indispensable people without whom none of us would be here tonight. And that starts with the person who created Indiana Jones, George Lucas. The person who is Indiana Jones, Harrison Ford. And the person is the glue to all 5 of these films that gave us all of our rhythm and all of our melody, the great maestro, John Williams.
De repente abre a cortina e está o John Williams com uma orquestra completa. E ele conduz as trilhas de Indiana Jones ali ao vivo na minha cara, meu Deus! Nada tinha me... Eu não sei nem... Eu não tenho vocabulário pra dizer o que foi isso. Gente, o John Williams tá com 91 anos. Gente, o John Williams tem 53 indicações ao Oscar. Ele só tem menos indicações que o Walt Disney, que teve 59 como produtor. Mas 53, ganhou 5 Oscars. O compositor de trilhas sonoras mais clássicos de todos os filmes que estão nos nossos corações do mundo negro. Gente, peraí! Eu vi isso ao vivo. John Williams, ele tá com 91 anos, super lúcido, trabalhando, conduzindo, um mestre. Trabalhou nesse filme, não tava lá só fazendo firula, não. Caraca, que honra! Disney, muito obrigado por esse convite. Que honra! Quando é que eu ia imaginar que eu ia ver John Williams conduzindo ao vivo? E quando é que eu ia ter outra oportunidade de fazer isso? Caraca, foi muito emocionante. Sim, claro, ver o filme depois disso deixa a gente num estado de espírito absurdo. Mas em breve teremos Nerdcast avaliando Indiana Jones 5 e tudo que rolou nesse dia emocionante demais. Foi inesquecível. Então, aproveitando, a pergunta da semana qual é a sua cena favorita de todos os filmes de Indiana Jones? Esse joinha que eu amei ter recebido do Harrison Ford veio da pesquisa. Achei uma frase que ele adora falar, que é: isso é melhor que um tapa na barriga com peixe molhado. Ele adora isso. Então, no final da entrevista, eu mandei essa e eu ganhei o joinha do Indy himself. Foi maravilhoso.